Welcome to MWEB's Entrepreneur Zone. Today I've got Damian Michael with me, a serial entrepreneur. Welcome, Damian.
Thank you, Paul.
Damian, you've started a number of different businesses in the telecoms and internet space. Tell us a bit about your background.
My background to date has been centered around, just developing myself, growing myself, and wanting to be a business person. So when I finished schooling, I went straight into studying, and I joined the South African Defence Force. I served an apprenticeship for 4 years and worked in the SA Navy. Because the Navy didn't pay so well, I decided to leave, and at that time technology was rife and cellular came out in the country, and I decided to get a job with one of the mobile operators, which I did. I spent 2 years there, and I went to the second mobile operator at that time, spent 9 years there, and thereafter I left and joined another telecommunications operator. So I have about 15 years of telecommunications experience, but during that time I was doing other things on the side to obviously supplement my income. And that's in a nutshell what I used to do.
As someone that is entrepreneurial, even while you were in a corporate, you were trying bits and pieces as you went along.
Yes, certainly. I think if you have this entrepreneurial spirit within you, you'd want to succeed, you'd want to do something that's better, and you'd want to make money. And while I was working for corporate companies, I saw a need that the friends and the people that you're around had all these gifts and talents, but they did not know how to utilize them. And I spotted a need in the market whereby these guys who were artists and musicians, and I went and got funding for them, and I actually produced their shows with the Cape Town Festival. And at that time, the Cape Town Festival was giving away some funding, and I secured some funding. These guys went and produced their shows, and I made money from them. So they got paid, and I made money on the side. So, I looked at those kind of things.
I mean, running a business while you've got a job can be taxing. What advice would you give to people that are doing that?
Yeah, it is really taxing because you got to focus in your corporate job from 8 to 5, and if you're running a business on the side, you also need to pay attention to the nuts and bolts with regards to your customers, your sales, your money coming in and going out. So I think you have to have your finger on the pulse, and I think the key advice for that is you need to plan very early in the morning. And what I used to do was I used to wake up very early in the morning. I used to plan what I'm going to do in my business, and then I used to head off to gym and go to my 8 to 5 job. So I think the key for that is ensuring that you as an entrepreneur plan, and you got to plan concisely.
And then you stepped out and kind of went in your own entrepreneurial venture. What, for someone who's leaving a corporate job or considering leaving a corporate job and then starting their own business, what are the things that they should think about?
It's important to note that if somebody wants to go and start their own business, number one is they have to have a mind to succeed. I think when you start sharing these things with people around you, or if you have mentors or coaches, and a lot of people say to you, you can't do it. And I think it is important for an entrepreneur to get the right information into their mind and have the ability to see the future as to where they want to take this organization and make it successful. So I think having the mindset to succeed is very important. I think also to ensure that you have a niche in the market as to what is your value proposition, what is your unique selling proposition or USP, and take that to your customers, because people will buy from people. I also believe that as an entrepreneur, you also need to have a coach and a mentor. It's important to have these kind of things to set you up. Some of the most successful people I know who are millionaires or billionaires have 2 or 3 coaches. And one of the things that I've invested in is to have myself a coach based locally and internationally to help me along the journey to succeed.
Part of being an entrepreneur and being a small business owner is that ability to see opportunity.
Yes.
That's something that you've been able to identify. Yeah. How do you think you need to look at the world in order to see opportunity? To
share one of the examples, how I spotted the need, and I had no background in this industry. When Top TV was launching in South Africa, it's obviously a competitor to DSTV, and I saw, well, here's a competitor, what can I do to fulfill that gap in the market? And I registered my organization as a reseller, installer, and so forth. And I became an accredited top TV reseller and agent. And subsequent to that, I then registered with DSTV and became an accredited DSTV agent. And I was the top 10 supplier in the Western Cape with Ellie's and Samsat. So that's just for understanding the market as to what is coming into the market as competition, looking at the market, seeing the gap, seeing how you could fulfill a need, and hence I started the organization, and 3 years down the line I sold it.
And you've been in the telecom space for a long time. What impact do you think the internet has on small businesses, and what opportunities do you think there is for small businesses going forward?
The internet plays a huge role to enable small business to transact, to offer products and services online. It creates a platform for you to buy online. It also creates a platform for other users who transact with their mobile phones to buy from you. It also we also are in a connected world, and as a small business, you can gain traction regionally, locally, as well as globally, so that people can use your service as well as to get to see your organization, products and services online. And I think the internet is a great tool for any small business to implement and ensure you're having a great platform where you can transact.
Having started a number of different businesses, you've had to deal with lots of staff. What is the secret to keep people motivated?
My secret was to get into the mind of my team members, and one of the strategies that I use to develop is to provide great leadership to them. And I spend 20% of my time every month motivating and empowering them, providing them leadership skills, leadership talent. And if you get into the mind of your employee and ensure that they are the greatest and the best, then they'll want to feel part of the team, and they'll do what you tell them to do. So it is to ensure that how do I create a picture in their mind that they belong to the organization, that they're here to actually be developed, they're here to grow, and to use that skill in the organization as well as you can grow in the organization. So that was one of my key tools that I used. And I would like to sum it up as a leadership applied competence strategy.
Damian, part of your business has been tenders, and you've been successful in that area. Tell us a bit about that, and also any advice for people that are looking to enter the tender process.
I think with regards to the way the government is moving, most government organizations and corporates are following a tender process. And I think one needs to understand the tender process, because right now in the market you have to attend a tender briefing. So you've got to attend the briefing session and sign a register, so that allows you the opportunity to tender. Also, as a small business, you need to have your taxes in order. You need to have a tax clearance certificate. You need to have an existing organization that's registered. And also you need to ensure that none of your members of your CC or the directors of your PTY is not listed on a default register. So that gives you some form of loophole to penetrate the market. The other key thing about a tender is if you win a tender for 2 or 3 years, most organizations kind of lock you into this 2 or 3 years so that the price is obviously as low as possible. So as a small business, you need to ensure that you're quoting the correct amount in order for you to gain that tender. So some small businesses want to go cheap and nasty. They get their tender, but they don't make the money. And you can actually take your business out. So it's important for you to strategize, to have a good price quotation, fill in all the documents, submit all the paperwork, and pray and hope that you get the tender.
You've been in a number of businesses. What's next for you?
I'm seriously looking to continue in the technology space with the rise of hosted services and cloud services, and especially with all these services for small business. I think that's the next big wave. Whereas as a small business, instead of you outlaying capital for infrastructure and for a lot of software and those kind of things, I think the cloud-based services for small business would be the next big wave. And I'm actually positioning my organization to cater for that market.
Damian, that brings us on to the rapid fire questions. What's the best advice you've ever received?
The best advice I ever received was to get a coach.
And the best moment as an entrepreneur?
Making the most percentage of profit on a deal
And your biggest mistake?
is not planning, failing to plan.
What do you look for in people that you work with?
Passion. I look for drive and energy, and somebody who replicates the same kind of goals and vision that I have.
What does an entrepreneur need to succeed?
Ultimately, you got to have a mind that's going to drive you to succeed. It's going to drive your business as well as develop yourself. Because if you have the right mindset, you'll plan, you'll be self-motivated, you'll be a self-starter, and you'll want to develop who you are as an individual.
What would you do differently?
Invest more in myself.
And what inspires you as a small business owner?
Making money.
What makes South Africa a good place to be an entrepreneur?
Well, South Africa is a great place because there's so much opportunity, and we can create our own economy. That's what's great about South Africa.
And what keeps you up at night?
Finding solutions for my customers.
And what gets you going in the morning?
The ability to go out and service needs of my clients, as well as growing my business to leave a legacy.
Damian, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you. We look forward to the coming weeks. We will bring you further South African entrepreneurs. I'm Paul Hobden. Thank you and goodbye.